the amount of applications that came in this year was astounding. I guess I'm really proud of our youth that many of them want to put themselves out there and apply and, be part of something and grow and make something bigger and better.
2 more steps forward for the planned construction of a new 24/7 travel store at the West I-70 exit in Hayes. I'm Becky Kaiser, Hayes Post Eagle Radio News, and I have the latest about the $11 million project with Hayes City Manager Toby Doherty and Commissioner Elena Cunningham, all on this episode of the Hayes Post Podcast.
There's a lot of work that goes into the audit from staff and the auditors themselves with Adams Brown. But yeah, as Kim mentioned, it is required by state law. It's also required by transparency, laws and rules. And we try to be very transparent. Our financial report every month is, a half-inch thick and our budgets are online, our audits are online. And so we try to be very transparent when it comes to numbers. And overall this year was a very clean audit, a very boring audit, which we like.
Sure.
But a very good audit, a good process.
Elena, when, and you're not an accountant, but do you find it easy or difficult to go through that kind of information?
The way it's all lined out is very simple to read. And so like Toby mentioned, you can view these things online. And I think they have it in such a format that anybody with no accounting background or maybe no necessarily knowledge of an actual budget could go and view it and make it very easy to understand and see where money is going.
All right. The other thing we wanted to talk about were a couple of public hearings, one of which had no comment, one which had one person commenting about our 24/7 Travel Plaza that's planned for exit 159 just north of I-70 in Hayes. That's a really big deal for the city of Hayes. And I like how Commissioner Sean Musil, Elena, said he was excited about jumping the interstate. And that's what it is business-wise.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, this is huge for our community. I feel like we've all been waiting for several years to see a truck stop come in that area. And so for 24/7 to step up and actually come to fruition and make this plan happen, this is huge. And it's really going to grow in that area. And I think it's a much needed thing. Just down the bypass, you've got the RV park, and then we've got this baseball and softball stadiums. So it's going to be a really good addition.
And this is a family that has built 24/7s across I-70 in this area, has a really good reputation. They did one that may be similar to ours just recently in Russell.
Yes, yeah. So if you've traveled along I-70 and stopped at any of the 24/7s, you've seen the upgrade in Abilene and now Russell, and then coming to Hayes soon. Same owner that has 24/7 that's been here. They've been a great contributor to the community, to different youth and schools. So just really excited to have them build and grow, and they're going to keep their other stores. So it's not like they're opening a brand new one and leaving us with an empty building either.
And they do plan to redevelop that existing site once they're done with this.
Oh, that's south of Interstate, about the 3600 block.
Right. They own the 24/7 just south of the new serves. They also own the vacant lot behind it over to Skyline, and they have intentions of redeveloping the property once they're done with this project.
Good to know. Well, let's talk about the financial incentives that were offered by the city, asked for by 24/7 and agreed to by the city. That's what the public hearings were about. Tax Increment Financing, or TIF as we call it, and also a community improvement district. And I think it maybe is a little bit alarming when people hear those terms. They think, Toby, that it's going to affect my taxes. My taxes are going up, and that has absolutely nothing to do with it.
No, and that's the genius of both of those is it's designed not to have any effect on existing taxes and tax revenues. So the way tax increment financing works is the land is being taxed at a certain value right now. That value is established when the TIF district is created, and those taxes remain in place. Those revenues go to the appropriate taxing agencies. The increment that's created once the facilities are built goes back to the developer. Not all of it. 20 mills that goes to the state for schools still goes through and goes to the schools. But the rest of it is essentially rebated back to the developer to reimburse them for TIF eligible costs, and those costs are outlined in state statute. TIF eligible costs are are typically the infrastructure and site cost to get the site ready to build on. So for the average taxpayer, it's not coming out of their taxes. That whatever that's generating right now remains the same. So it's only the future taxes for a period of time. And then a community improvement district is something that I think that came about in 2011 or 2012 by the state legislature, and it's been widely utilized across the state. But it allows a property owner to petition for an additional sales tax, and that anywhere from 0 to 2% up to 22 years, and it reimburses them for hard cost, so above ground hard cost type items. And again, those have to be deemed TIF eligible costs. That's done by bond counsel. And so the developer did ask for that here. Only the people that shop at that store pay that TIF. Or not the TIF, the CID. So it is something that's asked for by the property owner, approved by the city commission, but only patrons of that establishment will actually pay it. We actually have several CIDs in town.
And the city keeps its own sales tax. That's separate from the local sales tax would still be.
Yes, the city keeps its own sales tax, as does the county and the school district, which benefit from sales taxes. The school district will still benefit from the 20 mills that goes in for schools. And then, we get the economic generator, the jobs, the recirculating dollars that are created by the developments. And as Elena mentioned, getting something over on that side of the interstate now, getting a development there, hopefully will lead to more development up there. That infrastructure has been in place for 5 years now, and the development on the west side of that road just never panned out. We would like to think the landowner has aspirations for that property, so maybe this will help spur that landowner on to get something going on.
Now, you talk about the CID, Toby, and Commissioner David Vlising was asking about he had seen, I've never seen this, but he talked about he's been places where there's a CID in place at a particular retail location, and then there's signage that says, hey, if you buy something here, you're going to be paying X amount of dollars more in this CID tax, and it goes to is that something that you said we could look into it and see if that's something we should do or can do?
Yeah, I'm not aware of it, and so I don't want to weigh in on the legality of it. But we're going to get with the Department of Revenue and just see what the laws are on it, because it's not just a CID. There's transportation development districts, which have been in place since the 80s, I think, which allow an additional sales tax to be charged for infrastructure. In fact, we had a TDD around the Home Depot area that expired about, I'm going to say 5-6 years ago. That was used to help create, but there was an added sales tax at Home Depot, IHOP, Hampton Inn, that area for almost 20 years, to pay off that TDD.
Now, when the public hearing was held for the TIF, there was audience comment just about whether or not this particular business would come without economic development incentives offered by the city. And I'm curious what you think is the answer to that.
Well, it stated very clearly on their application that without the incentives being requested, they weren't going to build the store there.
So they said
we take them at their word.
Elena, what do you think about this city's economic development policy? Is this a good thing to have?
I think it's very valuable. It's kind of a little bit of a give and take. You're helping incentivize individuals or entities to come in and develop, but we are still gaining more than we're giving up. And so I think that's looking at the broader, bigger picture and seeing, the increased sales tax revenue that will be generated that we as a community will have to put towards our budget and offset other things. So I think it's a great and valuable asset.
The timeline is kind of long because of all these procedures that we have to go through with the state being involved. Toby, what are we looking at as far as this, bricks and mortar?
Well, actually, they should start pretty quickly now. So once these ordinances get published, they become effective. And they couldn't really get rolling too far ahead of time because they have to get the TIF and the CID in place before they can start being reimbursed for eligible costs. So, but now that the ordinance have been passed, once they get published, they become effective and they can start building as soon as that happens. So you'll see stuff moving pretty quickly out there.
Exciting. The other thing I wanted to talk about, Elena, was the mayoral appointment recommendations for several boards and advisory boards and committees that are volunteers from the city who have either asked to be on something or the mayor has suggested that they do that. And there were tons of people, tons of appointments last night. And that's something that I know you've talked about before, how important it is for people to get involved in our committees.
Absolutely. You know, we're always encouraging community members to look at our different committees, get involved. The more people that we have involved, the more voices we're hearing. We had a few first term applicants. And so that's great because, you know, you like to have that seniority, people who understand the system, but then also getting new voices in, hearing what they have to say. And, you know, Mayor Reuter helped create our Youth Advisory Council, and the amount of applications that came in this year was astounding. I guess I'm really proud of our youth that many of them want to put themselves out there and apply and, you know, be part of something and grow and make something bigger and better.
As we hope, as well, obviously as citizens, and they may go to school or somewhere, but either stay here or come back once they've been. Oh, yeah, elsewhere.
Absolutely. And it's always great getting the youth involved for them to just see how local government works. So whether they do get to remain here or not, at least they'll have a good understanding of local government wherever they land. But we obviously always want them back in Hayes.
And I know they've done great things. I've gotten to interview. They're outstanding leaders in their community, in their schools to begin with. And it's really impressive what they do. Toby, it's Friday. Are we going to hear anything from the state from the court about our R9 ranch situation?
I am going to check as soon as I get back in the office. It's typically late morning. They post the rulings. So yeah, December 15th was our oral argument. So we're running up on 4 months now. When you talk to the attorneys, they caution, don't get too excited. Under 6 months. I point out that there's a lot of rulings they issue on after 3 months, but I'm told those are really easy rulings, and ours is a little more complex. So don't get my hopes up, but I will still keep my eyes out.
All righty, you'll let us know.
Absolutely. You'll be the first to know.